Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all the ships at sea. Welcome to Hey, y'all. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is a Truthful Thursday here on the Sound of Coffee on Ghost Claw Productions Radio, GCPR, where every voice matters. My name, as always, is Thomas Bishop. Yesterday, I said that we were going to talk about faith, spirituality, religion in today's world. So, why did I want to talk about this conversation? I know a lot of y'all are thinking, Thomas, you're an atheist. Why do you want to talk about this? Because I think we have seen the extent of what religion has done to the world. I think we have finally, it has all been laid bare. All of it. The whole thing has been laid bare. We now understand that religion is a justification to blow people up. It's true. Now, was that always the case? Probably. But it was hid well. It was disguised really, really well. It was. Now, not so much. Now, not so damn much. We now see that religion is now a justification for the rich continuing to get rich. Was this always the way? Yes. But it was hidden. Please remember everything I'm telling you. It was hidden. It was a thin veil. Okay? But now we know. It's been laid bare. If you have a lot of money, God gave you that money. You don't have to explain it to anybody. And if you're poor, Jesus said, get your ass up and work. According to religion. We now understand that religion is a justification to be racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, anti-Semitic, Islamophobic, transphobic, and ableist. Again, was this always this way? Yes. And also, once again, it was hidden. It was hidden really well. There are three branches of the Abrahamic religion. How the hell is it that none of the three of them get along? That never made any sense to me. If y'all all the same branches from the same tree, how are y'all all fighting all the time? And it is very hard to be a person of faith or a person of spirituality in this toxic, polluted sludge that religion has bought. Now, why do I make the distinction between faith, spirituality, and religion? Well, because faith is something that you have. Okay? They say walk on faith, the belief of something greater. Okay? That does not require a religion. It doesn't. It does not require a religion. If you had no name for God, you would still think of something that was greater than yourself. What? Spirituality is that oneness with the thing inside of you that you call the spirit. Okay? I know a lot of atheists like myself. We sometimes tend to say, hey, shit ain't working, boom, we get out of there, right? But those who have spirituality You know, we joke about the Baduism, but Erica Badu has a strong spirit. That's why we joke like that. That idea that you were connected to something greater. That same thing, connection to something greater, and how you need to make sure that that connection stays strong, that connection stays viable, right? Religion is man-made. I do not care how else you try to lawyer that shit up. Religion is man-made. It is. It is. The faith and spirituality of Islam, the faith and spirituality of Judaism, the faith and spirituality of Christianity, the faith and spirituality of Hinduism, the faith and spirituality of Buddhism. But notice how I gave them all names. That's man-made. You can argue with your mama. That is man-made. Period. It's man-made. Why do Christians know what Muslims or know the name of God for Muslims? Because of religion. Because think about it. He's been called the great I am. He's been called Yahweh. He's been called Allah. But for some reason, you can't be a Christian and saying Allah Akbar. Well, Allah Akbar is what they say when they do the terrorist attacks. Slow down, Deputy Dog. We'll get there in a minute. How is it that Christians can identify what Jews are supposed to do? Religion. Religion. All right? So I want everybody to understand ahead of time. The discussions we will be having this morning are primarily about religion, that man-made edifice of religion. Okay? So I am not picking on your faith. I am not picking on your spirituality. Your holy books are still available to buy, to read, to understand. My wife tells me all the time I should start using my wife had a Strong's Concordance. It's about that damn big. And in it breaks down all of the meanings and things in the Bible. Okay? So if you got a Bible and you got a Strong's Concordance, you can understand these things, parables and things of that nature. So I will not be attacking anybody's faith or spirituality, but I go hard in the paint against religion. I do. I go hard in the paint against religion, because the one thing you can get with religion is a us versus them. Religion is the ultimate us versus them. The ultimate us versus them is religion. During the Cold War, Dwight D. Eisenhower, in an attempt to show that communists are godless, put under God into the zeitgeist. Put it on money. He put it in the Pledge of Allegiance. Because before under God was there, the Pledge of Allegiance went like this. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, I want you to think about this. How long has that damn thing been around? How long has the Pledge of Allegiance been around? Think about everything before Eisenhower. Look at all of the time before Eisenhower. The Pledge of Allegiance was there. No God. No God in it at all. No God whatsoever, period. Right? None. None. Eisenhower comes around and sees the communists over there. He's like, well, they don't have a God. But they do. That was the rub. You don't think there were any religious people? You don't think there were any faith and spiritual people in Russia? But the moment that happened, much like the reasoning and rationale for the Civil War, everything started to change. Everything started to change. It was written in 1892 by Francis Bellamy, first published in a magazine, The Youth Companion, and later officially recognized by Congress into the U.S. Flag Code in 1942. So, 1892 is created. 1942, it is put in the U.S. Flag Code. And then here comes Eisenhower saying, well, the communists are godless, so let's put under God. And that has led to a slow erosion, a very slow, painful erosion of the separation between church and state. In the First Amendment, let me, because y'all know me, I have my pocket constitution. You need one of these. You need to go out and either purchase or pick up for free a copy of the goddamn U.S. Constitution. Have it in your pocket, okay? It's like October 12th, 1892. See, there it is. All right. The First Amendment, the very first one. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition their government for a redress of grievances. It's the first line of the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Yet for some reason, when you ask evangelical Christian conservatives, America's always been a Christian nation, and it is not. There is a story, and this is the wildest shit. This is wild. Not just because of what was said, but who said it. Let me find it. I'm going to find it. Hold on. I should have these things ready, but I do not. Hold on. This is, again, I really want you to understand, it's wild not just because of who said it, but what was said. Gorsuch, as in Neil Gorsuch, as in Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch, the white guy. U.S. never supposed to be about one race or one religion. That's Neil Gorsuch saying that. Oh my God! Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch said in a recent interview that the U.S. was not founded on, quote, one race or one religion, pushing back on arguments made by conservatives such as Vice President Vance. Quote, we were founded, a lot of our colonies, for our religious pluralism, right? And the opportunity to practice your own faith in your own way. Gorsuch told PBS host Margaret Hoover in an episode of Firing Line published Friday. Quote, and we were never supposed to be a nation that was about one race or one religion. It was about those ideas, he added, referring to America's founding principles of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Quote, and those things are perfect ideas that speak to every human heart and that unite us all. This is a Supreme Court justice that said this. When a Supreme Court justice has to say this shit out loud, you know religion has taken way too much space and is doing way too much damage. I did not become an atheist out of anger towards Christians. Please do not misunderstand me, okay? I came out as an atheist in 2013. I was in, morning, Merrick, I was in Korea. And I had done a whole lot of soul searching, right? And one of the things that struck me was how I never, ever felt that pull of religion. I never did. I do not believe in God. I will tell you that honestly. I believe that when you die, they put your body in a box or in a crematorium. They put that box in the ground, or they put you in the crematorium, and there is nothing afterwards. Now, it was extremely hard to explain that to my mother, who is a prayerful woman. Do not misunderstand me. Martha Ann stayed prayed up, as the black folk say. She stayed prayed up. And yes, my mother did pray for me, and I accepted every single one of those prayers. I accepted the prayers of anybody, but it didn't mean that I believed there was a God that was going to answer them. I just don't. But what, in the time since 2013, I've been an atheist for over 13 years now. In the time that I came out as an atheist, things started to become very clear to me. Very clear. There is a level of clarity that, as an atheist, that I have that I did not have when I was trying to be a practicing Christian. One of the things that became very clear to me is this: America is way too heavily involved in religion, and that religion is costing the lives and has cost the lives of millions of people. Understand something. America has always been homophobic. Always. America has always been homophobic. Always. Please understand, America's homophobia came over here with the boats. In England, when a man slept with another man, it was called buggery. And it was illegal. Now, remember Yankee Doodle went to town riding on a pony, stuck a feather in his cap and called it macaroni? Macaroni was a buggery club. I know some of y'all, listen, get your hats. Oh my God! Get your hats. Just hold on to them. Yes, the Macaroni Club of Yankee Doodle fame was a buggery club. Men went there to drink, to fellowship, and to bang each other in the ass. I'm not making this up. Robert Wool, Robert Wool. Y'all know him, Robert Wool. He did a class on American history that for HBO, and if you go to YouTube and shit and type it in, you could find it. That's one of the things he discussed. The men that were sticking feathers in caps were, today we would call them effeminate. But back then they were called like puffery or some other shit. You know what I mean? Definition is a historical piece of British political slang used to pejoratively refer to a secret society, a secret social venue or establishment frequented by gay men. There you go. The Macaroni Club, and Robert Wool will talk about it. Those guys that would stick feathers in their cap, they were foppy. They were, and they would go to the Macaroni Club for the in out, right? They're fops. Thank you, Mofe. Fops. Again, America's always been homophobic. It started off that way. Like, when you hear British people tell somebody bugger off, it means F off. But I digress. So America's homophobia came over here with the ships. It did. The insight, the soul of America is puritanical, brought to you by the Puritans. Listen to the name. Puritans. These people believed that anything that was against God was against, was bad. So you're not going to see an open house with, buggery. You're not gonna see it. Oh, that's bad. That's against God. That's against God. Buggery. The thing that gay liberation was supposed to be fighting against. They weren't fighting against the homophobes. They were fighting against the intrinsic homophobia that is laced within the United States and has been here since the founding. When it comes to Christian missionaries that went all over the world, Christian missionaries were kind of like the cavalry of war. They would come in, they would go into countries, they would call all the citizens there savages because they were, they didn't know about God and they didn't wash and blah, 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 right? And these Christians would shame these native people, shame them. When they came here and the indigenous people were here, they called them savages. They're called Indian savages in the Constitution today. Go read it. Read the Constitution. You will see how they talk about the bloody savages, the bloody savage Indian. Now, why were they called savages? Because killing people have been part of history since, I don't know, since time immemorial. But when King Richard kills somebody, oh, that's noble. But when the native people kill somebody, they're savages. Every place that Christianity went throughout the world, the people were called savages. The Africans were savages. The native people were savages. The Filipinos were savages. The Chinese were savages. The Japanese, savages. The only place that savage shit didn't work is in a country where white people were. That's it. There you go. There you go. Nobody ever called a Russian a savage. Of course, nobody ever tried to take Christianity there to conquer Russia, but I digress. So in America, homophobia and the us versus them mentality started the moment the boats got here. And what was right in the middle of it? Religion. Not faith, not spirituality, religion. It was so important that we kept religion away from our government that these venerated founding fathers wrote the shit in the first damn amendment. It's the first sentence in the First Amendment. Keep that shit over there. But, and I will say this much, it's always been Christianity in the United States, always. Christianity does not understand the concept of stay your ass over there. It never has. The Christian religion is always a habitual goddamn line stepper. A habitual line stepper. The problem with being a habitual line stepper is this. As long as white Christian men, think about it, what did it, in the beginning, who did they only care about? White, landowning, Christian men. Right? Why is Christian in there? Not white. Why not white Muslim landowning men? Nope. How about white Jewish landowning men? Nope. Nope. Had to make sure they were Christian. It was part of the MO. Part of the MO. But that's how they got that. That's how they ended up with that power, because when you have Puritan ideas, when you see yourself as being on top for the remainder of history, you can write stirring words like, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they're endowed by their creator. Notice they didn't say God, creator, with certain inalienable rights, that of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You can write that shit while you own a slave. because a slave is a savage. All men don't mean shit to this dude with the chinos and the tee, right? But the founding fathers were so scared. They wanted to make sure this shit was separate. Get this shit away from each other. But much like everything else, religion does not understand what its place is. Everybody loves talking about majority Islamic countries and how they're barbaric and shit. I will never forget the nurse, the big head nurse. What's her name? Nurse Petty, I guess is. Brain fog. But anyway, saying shit like, you can't be gay in the Middle East. They'll throw you off of a roof. First off, how they gonna throw you off something when y'all done blew up all the buildings? What are they gonna do? Throw you off of the rubble? That's the first part. And secondly, I read to you the other day as part of the white conversation in the playlist that I have on TikTok that not only are trans people allowed to live in the country of Iran, but they're allowed to flourish. They have an organization in Iran, that is dedicated to caring for and protecting trans people. Everybody talks about the uprising in the 70s over the Shah of Iran and Ayatollah Khomeini. Ayatollah Khomeini was getting letters from a trans woman begging to have their life acknowledged. And when this trans woman met Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khomeini and explained their plight, Ayatollah Khomeini made a fatwa there that not only would trans rights be allowed, but they would be respected. And it stays until this very day. Now tell me again about how Muslims will throw trans people and gay people off the roof. Now, in Saudi Arabia, yes, that might actually happen. What does Saudi Arabia also have that Iran doesn't? Intervention and regular negotiation with countries like the UK and the United States. And what do those two countries try to practice? Homophobia and transphobia. Are you seeing it? Are you getting the picture? Is it clear to you? Is it clear to you? Everywhere that there is a Christian or Jewish what's the word I'm looking for? Influence. Homophobia and transphobia follow. It like dead ass. Dead ass. You can get mad at me if you want to, but it's true. But it's true. They use the idea of being able to be homosexual or transsexual as a you can be this in this society as a selling point for Israel. Why do you have to do that? That's unnecessary. That is unnecessary. Either they are or they aren't. And the only people that would know would be a trans person or a gay person in Israel. It's the only way we would know. But again, this is what happens when religion gets mixed in. Religion was used as a justification for slavery. You can get mad if you want to. I don't care. In the United States, the religion was used as a justification for slavery. What is his name? Andrew Stevens, the vice president of the Confederacy, talked about how the Negro race the black race or whatever you want to call it, their natural place is underneath, like underneath the white man. There's suborn to the white man. That they have no, I mean, the goddamn Supreme Court even said it, that black men or black people have no laws that a white man is required to follow. They saw us as property. And they were saying that it was ordained by God. That is religion. That ain't got shit to do with God. That's religion. That is religion, period. Point blank, that's religion. Not faith, not spirituality, religion. Religion tells people that it is perfectly okay to own people, to beat them, to kill them, to have them work for you. They have something called the Slave Bible, where they cut out all the redemption, all the fighting, all the standing up parts, and just put the parts that continue to allow slaves to be owned. I don't care how much that makes you feel bad. I don't give a shit. There's some people listening right now screaming CRT, CRT. I don't give a shit how loud you scream it. Continue to scream it. But guess what? At the end of it, it's still true. It's still true. I don't care. And my problem with how this operates is this. You don't get the good parts and try to leave the bad parts. Why do you think people are actually out here trying to dismiss parts of American history? Why do you think the president of the United States, and it isn't the president of the United States, it's the Heritage Foundation, but I digress. Why do you think they're attacking college campuses and museums and things of that nature? Because they're trying to rewrite the story in front of you. They're trying to rewrite the story in front of you. Ladies and gentlemen, you can protest anything you want in this country. You can. You can protest anything you want in this country. You have the right to do so. So explain to me, how is it that college students, you know, the ones that will inevitably come out of college and be the leaders and thought leaders of the next generation, how is it wrong for them to stand up and say free Palestine? Why is that wrong? Why is that wrong? Because moneyed interests who have a religious ideal, not a faith ideal, not a spirituality ideal, but a religious ideal, want you to not do that. Perfect example is Bill Ackerman. Go look him up. Go look up Bill Ackerman. Bill Ackman is responsible for getting rid of the black dean of Harvard because of the quote-unquote rampant anti-Semitism. Let me tell you something. To be against the Jewish religion is my right as an American citizen. I do not have to attack a single Jewish person, not one. I don't need to even bring up Judaism in criticism of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the government in which he resides. The only time people even try that shit is because we've been able to do it with Christianity. We've been able to do that in America with Christianity. I've never seen a group of people who have the largest denomination on the face of the earth also be the victims of said system that they couldn't tell you about. How in the hell are you the largest religious denomination in the United States and still the victim? It is because you have tried to create that. You have. Now we're seeing the same thing being done with Judaism. To criticize Benjamin Netanyahu is to criticize Israel. To criticize Israel is to criticize Judaism. Since when? That math don't even make any sense. The math on that don't make any sense. He gonna die, the government gonna change. How did Judaism is still sitting there? But Bill Ackman is one of the people that actually has helped with the crackdown of American citizens in the form of college students protesting against a government and the leader of said government by linking both to religion. That is the insidiousness of religion. And ladies and gentlemen, since some of y'all think I don't give Islam that same smoke, oh, yes, I do. Oh, yes, I do. Salman Rushdie wrote a book called The Satanic Verses. And there was a fatwa put out on him because he was disrespecting the religion of Islam. And did Muhammad have a problem with it? Nope. Did Allah have a problem with it? Nope. How do you know Allah wasn't the one that told him to write the book? But once again, you criticize the leader. You criticize the country. You criticize the country. You criticize the religion. That shit don't make no goddamn sense. It don't. It does not. But when religions do that, they stifle and shut down conversation. And I'm gonna tell you a little secret. Us atheists, yes, we suffer. But do you know who else suffers? My faith people and my spirituality people. You suffer too. You cannot find oneness with God when people are using that same God as a justification to blow up abortion clinics or kill abortion doctors at church. We're going to save the babies by murdering people. Here you are, a person who is having their own singular walk with God. You wear a cross simply because you want to be reminded of your walk with God. And that same cross is being burned in the front yard of black people. You don't get the sugar you don't get the sugar without the shit. You don't. Sorry. That's not how it works. If you want that sugar, you're going to have to eat that shit. And the problem is faith-based people and spirituality people have got to walk around with a noose or some bullshit around their neck that they did not ask for. They never wanted it. I know Christians. I know Jews. I know Muslims. And they are disgusted by the actions of people who use their faith walk, their spiritual walk, to justify harming and hurting other damn people. They hate it. You are having a singular conversation with Allah. And then bin Laden, in the name of that same Allah, blows up or runs two planes in the buildings and they fall down. You have got to be pissed. Did you know there are Hindu and Buddhist terrorists? There is a Buddhist terrorist. He was on the cover of Time magazine. A Buddhist. And his whole thing, he was a monk, and his whole thing was murdering Muslims. Go look at he is a Buddhist. And all he wants to do is murder Muslims. Now imagine being a Buddhist, a spiritual Buddhist. Buddha guides everything that you do. You have Hindu friends and Muslim friends. And you got to hear about a Buddhist monk who wants to go on a killing spree of Muslims. Now your Muslim friend looking at you like, do you agree to this? That is the problem. There is the paradox and the issue when faith-based people and spirituality people meet these religious assholes. That's where the problem comes in, kids. That's where the problem comes in. Because it's unfair to you. It is unfair to you. I sympathize so very much with people on a spiritual or faith-based walk. I sympathize with it. Because y'all don't even ask for any of this shit. Y'all didn't ask for this. None of you did. None of you did. None of you said, I'm going to be a part of the religion fight. Wait, what the hell kind of shit is that? You just want to keep yourself in tune the same way you work out, the same way you eat good, the same way you read, the same way you interact with people. You want your faith to be able to do that exact same thing. But you can't. And in America, Christians have made it a cottage industry. You realize it is easier for a religious man, a Christian man, to get a hold of a Supreme Court justice than it is for anybody else. Imagine that. I want you to hear that one more time. If you are an evangelical Christian conservative and you got money, you can call a Supreme Court justice. You can get on the phone with them. And you can influence them. Samuel Alito has proven this. Clarence Thomas has proven this. Proven it. But is it fair, though? Is it fair? That's his name. Radical Burmese Buddhist monk dubbed Burmese bin Laden. He's a monk. He's a monk. It is easier for an evangelical Christian conservative to get the president, the vice president, members of Congress on the phone than it is for your ass to do it. That ain't fair. That's not fair. That is not, I don't care. That's not fair. I don't give a shit. Benjamin Netanyahu can come here and to a joint session of Congress and speak, even though his actions are disapproved of by President Obama or President Biden. But we just going to invite you in and let you come in and tell us how to dictate our shit? Excuse me? And how does he do it? He puts his Jewish religion right up front. But did y'all know that the biggest people here in America that are protesting the actions of Benjamin Netanyahu are Jewish people? Jewish people. Jewish Voices for Peace. That's an example of one of them. Jewish Voices for Peace. And they're still Jewish, which means their spirituality and their faith is still the same, but they are arguing against the radicalizing of religion, the Jewish religion, as a cudgel against everybody else. You see, a bomb doesn't have a God. A bomb only has a maker. There's never been a bullet or a bomb that has been created by a God. They have been created by men. And bullets and bombs have no other purpose other than to end lives. And when you get millions of dollars worth of them, you can blow up whatever you want. You can blow up whatever you want. But to say that these bombs came from a God is ridiculous. And that, to me, is what I feel like Christian religious people and Jewish religious people want to have happen. They can see carnage of Muslim people and not care, which subsequently Muslim people, Muslim religious people, can watch destruction like the Yemenis and not care. Because there's even tears in that shit. That literally is how it works. Religion will allow you to distance yourself from humanity. Because religion is, I've called religion a Ponzi scheme, but that's the biggest part of the Ponzi scheme. It was not atheists that shot an abortion doctor in church. It was not atheists that blew up a gay nightclub. It was not atheists that blew up an abortion clinic. It was Christians that did that. Christians. I'm going to preserve the life in the womb by killing people. But that's religion. I want y'all to understand. You can see all the bad works of religion. Anytime something is dropped on a group of people and it explodes and somebody says God wills it, that's religion, ladies and gentlemen. Bullets ain't got eyes. Bombs ain't got eyes. They don't. No bomb prays to God before it goes and blows up. It doesn't. That's religion. That is religion. That is the insipid, creepy, disgusting nature of religion. I am a victim. They hate Christians. Now let me go blow up an abortion clinic. They're using words against me. I have a homemade bomb filled with marbles and nails. Y'all got to remember when they make those bombs, when they made those abortion clinic bombs, it wasn't just a boom. No, it had shit in it. It had shit in it. Marbles, nails, tacks, little ball bearing. That's why it's called a pipe bomb. Those things blow up. The explosion may not kill you, but the shrapnel on the inside will. In the Army, we have something called a claymore mine, where basically you press a button and the back end explodes and ball bearings come flying out. So if the boom don't get you, them ball bearings coming at you at 400 miles an hour will. Religion is the reason why we have so many of the problems we have in America today. I call him Warrior Jesus. Y'all seen a picture of him? Long red hair, swole meat for no reason whatsoever. Looks like Kenny Loggins, has a sword. Warrior Jesus. That's the Jesus that can get off the cross and kill people. Did y'all know there's a church in Texas that people bring their AR-15s to? And the pastor wears a literal crown made out of bullets? This is in Texas. Now, for those of you who have been reading the Bible, what chapter and verse is that in? What chapter and verse is Jesus with the AR-15 in? Please let me know, because I'd read the book over again if that's in it. If they got that in it, I'd read it again. But again, that's religion. It isn't faith, that isn't spirituality, because faith and spirituality don't need all that shit. You don't. I tell people all the time, you don't need anybody to read the Bible. You can get a Bible and read it. You can get a Quran and read it. You can get a Torah and read it. You don't ever have, you can find these things. Exactly. Thank you, Dredd. The Crusades happened because of religion. Not faith, not spirituality. Religion. Religion put Saladin in that desert. Religion is the reason Richard the Lionhearted came out and went and tried to fight for Jerusalem. All these quote unquote holy places. But God is everywhere. Do you see now what I'm talking about? Like, that's not you can have a holy place in your house. If you go and pray in your closet, that's a holy place. That is a holy place. Sorry. But the Crusades were about religion. I made a video about this, but I'm going to play it because I think you all need to understand the extent of how bad this is.
We as a nation are besieged today by a powerful, wealthy movement with one dangerous goal: to mix religion with partisan politics so they can force their narrow doctrine on all of us.
A leader of their network calls these donors a standing army ready to be called to battle in a political war. It's a call that will be sounded in the churches not by preachers, but by politicians.
We are talking about Christianizing America. We are talking about simply spreading the gospel in a political context. And therefore, you have to be able to put things in, if you will, simplistic, polemical terms. Ultimately, everything can be reduced to right and wrong. Everything.
The Washington operatives mastermind a new strategy, one that will confuse religion with politics. Paul Weyrich knows the radical right agenda he has long pursued will benefit from a religious cloak. Jerry Falwell is the first of the TV preachers to answer the political call. He forms his own organization and gives it a name Weyrich has thought up, Moral Majority.
I don't think we'll talk about it here, but you give me...
Falwell's joined by James Robison, the Texas evangelist who invites the group to Dallas, where they will conduct a massive training school for the 15,000 preachers they have summoned there.
Preachers, we have a threefold primary responsibility. Number one, get people saved. Number two, get them baptized. Number three, get them registered to vote.
Now, many of our Christians have what I call the goo-goo syndrome. Good government. They want everybody to vote. I don't want everybody to vote. Elections are not won by a majority of people. They never have been from the beginning of our country, and they are not now. As a matter of fact, our leverage in the elections, quite candidly, goes up as the voting populace goes down.
Don't you commit yourself to some political party or politician. You commit yourself to the principles of God and demand those parties and politicians align themselves with the eternal values in this book, and America will be forever the greatest nation on this earth.
Now, I want you to think about this. Paul Weyrich wants people, or no, Jerry Falwell wanted people saved, baptized, and registered to vote. Jerry Falwell, by definition, as a pastor or preacher, by definition, had one job: to bring the good news of Jesus Christ. That's what a preacher does. A preacher does it. Instead, he wants people to register to vote because of religion. Paul Weyrich knew that he could get this working, and Ronald Reagan was the perfect vessel for it. Because no other president before Reagan would have even touched this shit. Evangelical Christians loved Jimmy Carter. They loved him because he talked about being born again. He was a born-again Christian. But he was also a Democrat, or a liberal, as we say. And that was the problem. He was not religious enough for them. So when Ronald Reagan, a man who had really never professed his faith ever, saunters onto the scene, Ronald Reagan thinking politics, but he hooks up with the religious right to form this unholy alliance. Now, had Reagan told them people, listen, in the First Amendment, it says we do not establish any religion in the United States. I'm going to need y'all to, you want to vote for me, fine. You want to vote, don't vote for me, that's fine too. But no, we will not be mixing religion and politics, because it was told to us in the First Amendment. Which one's stronger? The Constitution that I'm going to swear to defend, or your myopic, small-ass religious idea of what America should be? But Ronald Reagan didn't do that. He didn't. He did not. See, in a religious political landscape, blowing up an abortion clinic is fine. In a religious political landscape, we don't have to talk about slavery. That was so long ago. In a religious political thought process, buggery is nasty. It's always been nasty. Why are we talking about it? Oh, and by the way, I don't care if you pay taxes. You don't get any rights. That is not how this shit is supposed to work. It's not supposed to work that way. It's not. I don't care. It's not supposed to work that way. because it makes no sense. Because if America's this Christian-ass nation, then why should I pay taxes as an atheist? Why should any Muslim in America pay taxes? If America's a Christian nation, what the hell? Listen, I can work, keep my money. I'm gonna work, keep my money. Why the hell should I participate? Apparently, it's a Christian nation and only Christians can vote. And then those Christians will then turn around and make laws for my atheist ass. No. What part of the game is that? Religion does not work in any sort of political setting. But then it starts to get insidious. Now we want religion in school. Now we want to have Christian clubs after school. Wait a minute. Wait, whoa. Once again, I'm an atheist. Why are my tax dollars going to pay for that shit? Why are my tax dollars going to pay for that? Because you want a Christian club on every high school. Like right now, the goddamn Department of Justice should be suing Turning Point USA for having clubs with a religious bent on high schools and elementary schools. No, you don't get to do that. You do not get to do that. So you can discriminate against Muslim kids, discriminate against Buddhist kids, discriminate against Hindu kids. No, you don't get to do that. And you know what ends up happening inevitably, and this is wild? They'll have a Christian, club on a high school. And here comes the Satanic Temple. They're like, oh, well, we can have a club too. Seems only fair. They don't worship Satan. They worship the self. But yeah, we should have a Satanic Temple club. What's the first thing that happen? Well, nobody can have a club. Hold up. Pause. Wait a minute. You wanted to violate the First Amendment by making your goddamn Christian club in the first place. When inevitably another group of people use that exact same logic to make a Satanic Temple club, now nobody can have a club. You see, that's how it works. Religion can be challenged. It just takes a heart to do so. I'm going to tell y'all a little secret. And I think I told Angry and Taz this years ago. I think I did. I use the sun god Ra, the Kryptonian son of the god of the sun Ra, just to mess with people. Just to F with them. I do. Just as a little, like a little, not a knife in the rib cage, just kind of like a little dagger, just a little. And I don't go all the way in. I just hit the rib cage. But I do it on purpose. Because if we all gonna be religious in schools and shit, then we have all religions in schools or we have none. So if I decided to make a Kryptonian Ra club and get young people involved in loving and worshiping Ra, I should be able to do it, right? Right? I mean, we letting Christians and shit do it. But that's what Christians want. They want all or nothing. There is a book called The Family, and I own a copy of it. And it talks about dominionists. Dominionists believe in the 7 mountain theory where religion, the Christian religion, should take over these 7 mountains, politics, media, things of that nature. Because they believe in the idea, and this is a quote out of the book, Jesus plus nothing. That's the belief they have. Jesus plus nothing. They call it that. Jesus plus nothing. Which is basically code for only Jesus. Now, if they were reading from the actual book on Jesus, probably wouldn't have a problem with it. But they're not. Their Jesus carries a sword and kills people. Their Jesus got off that damn cross because God damn it, I'm not going to let that shit happen. And they fighting. That Jesus going there kicking Romans in the chest muscles and throwing their ass over the river like the Hulk. That's their Jesus. But that's not the Jesus that's in the actual book itself. If America taught off of the Beatitudes, if America wanted to make laws based on the Beatitudes, I'd have absolutely no problem with it whatsoever. No. If America made laws based on the Beatitudes, I'd be the first person in line cheering for it. But that's not what they want. Warrior Jesus does not do Beatitudes. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. No. Blessed are the rich and powerful, because they can crush the meek. If they wanted to create laws based on the Beatitudes of Jesus, I'd have no problem with it. But that's that inconvenient part. There are passages and surahs in the Quran that preach and teach about loving those who are around you, about feeding those who are around you. Be safe, Mary, love you. Hey, Mary, if you ever want to watch it, you know it's going to be over on the YouTube channel. You know that. There are passages in the Quran that talk about love, kindness, compassion, but you would never know that because all they want you to see of Islam is bin Laden. Do you know there is a fight? And I cannot believe I'm about to say that, because this has got to be part and parcel of the stupidest goddamn thing I've ever heard of. There are a group of people in New York City who are survivors and families of survivors and families of those who were lost on 9/11 who do not want the current mayor of New York City, one Zoran Mamdani, to attend. They don't want him to attend. Why? Because he's Muslim. So wait a minute. Wait one goddamn minute. That is Islamophobia in its purest form. That is Islamophobic. But it's okay because he's Muslim. But let somebody do that to a Christian. Let somebody do that to a Christian. Like the mosque that was shot up. Let's say Muslims invited Jews, Muslims invited Buddhists, Muslims invited, Hindus, Sikhs to come in and celebrate or commiserate that day. But they didn't want any Christians in there because it was a Christian that came in and shot up the place. Fox News would be running that goddamn headline 24/7, 365. Fox News would run that 24/7 over and over. But Riley Gaines, Miss fifth place swimmer, would have her goddamn conversation about the fact that Muslims who are commiserating the day a Christian walked in and shot up their goddamn mosque, but they don't want any Christians in there. Christians would lose their shit. They would lose their shit. They would get mad. Somebody would be going to the Supreme Court trying to make these Muslims bring in Christians, even though it was Christians that shot up the place. You don't get to have it both ways. But that's what America and its religious ideals have foisted. They have foisted this. Our laws today are predicated on religion. The fact that women in the United States, we are talking about fully functioning human beings, people that are able to make their own decisions, work their own jobs, have their own money, pay their own taxes, be married or not, be gay or not, raise kids or not, whatever. There are parts of the United States where women cannot control their own goddamn bodies, and there is no logical reason for it. There is no medical reason for it, but there's damn sure is a religion reason for it. Now, isn't it? Now, isn't it? Purely religion. Purely religion. Against the First Amendment. Purely religion. Women can't control their own goddamn bodies in certain parts of the United States simply because of religion. But Christians are persecuted. Really? You're persecuted because you can make a law and over half the population of the United States has to suffer for it? Really? You can make a law based on your shit, based on you not reading that goddamn book. And over half of the American population has to suffer for it. That's religion. That is religion. That isn't faith, and it damn sure isn't spirituality. That's religion. That's religion. Mississippi just recently made it illegal to own slaves. Mississippi did this. Mississippi. They just wrote it in their constitution here recently. Made it illegal to own slaves. That's religion. That is religion. And it is so permeated everything that we do that faith and spirituality get edged out. They get edged out. Check this out. For everybody that goes to church, I'm talking to y'all right now. For all of you to go to church, when you go into church, you get a feeling of being home, of homecoming, of fellowship and good thoughts and things of that nature, right? Right? You feel like your spirit is being fed, that your faith is being rewarded when you go into church. How many of you, when the preacher starts preaching on some political shit, how many of you start to have that? Like, it's almost like there's like the room just tilted about, 25 to 30 degrees. How many of y'all feel like that? I will never ever forget when that happened to me. Never forget. Not gonna name the preacher, not gonna name the church. But the preacher said something. And he made a reference to, like, I don't know, something about women's bodies and liberals. And I was like, ooh. It's almost like my entire body shifted to the left a little bit. Now multiply that feeling by over 330 million Americans. Multiply that feeling by over 330 million Americans. Christians are the largest denomination in the United States, period. But not every Christian acts like that. Not every Christian wants to act like that. When you fight for causes, whatever they are, when you fight for causes, you are fighting for that cause. You don't need a religion backing you up. You just need to fight for that cause. Your spirituality and your faith allows you to fight those good fights. It is when religion gets into the framework that those conversations go off the cliff. Because now with your religion, there comes rules. There comes rules. You have to, and if you go against said rules, they call you not a real Christian, blah, 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 blah. One of the biggest Christians in America today is Joe Webbin. Joe Webbon, and I don't care if I don't care how he tries to lawyer it up. I don't give a shit if you have a biracial person working for you. Joe Webbon is a racist. Period. End of all the goddamn discussion. I don't care. I do not give a shit. Joe Webbon is a racist. Like there's no ambiguity about the shit. I don't care how you try to lawyer that shit up. Joe Webbon is a racist. And why am I saying this? Because Joe Webbon, and I'm trying to find this video, Joe Webbon said that black preachers are not preaching the real gospel and that they need to be led. His words, not mine. They need to be led by a strong, white preacher. Him said that. Hickley him. He said that.
I want to talk about...
Right? So I'm going to find it. Hold on. This came out of this man's mouth. This came out of his mouth. I want you to listen, but this came out of his mouth.
If you're a Christian white parent who loves the Lord and loves your children, that you need to have the talk. The talk that we're referencing is the talk that takes your children according to their maturity at the proper time, the appropriate time, and says, there are certain parts of town that you cannot go. And there are certain people that you cannot be around.
Yep.
Right? If there's someone who is black in our church, and they've been in our church and we know them and they love the Lord Jesus Christ, great. We're not talking about that person, right. But we're talking about when you go into a crowd of people. If you go into a crowd of strangers and they're white strangers, there's some danger. If they're black strangers, there is 30 times more danger.
That was him. Hold on.
I would say that about 90 to 95% of the black church in America is heretical, has terrible doctrinal views.
Hey, y'all let me know if I'm tweaking or not, but I think Buddy racist. Like, where you get that?
Like, I really want you to think about that.
90 to 95% of the black church in America is objectively, by the standards of Scripture, heretical.
So stop. Just in case you didn't understand, he just said all
heretical, heretics. Is that the video or no? That's a screenshot. This is what he said. Joe Webbon was fostered under a preacher, and I don't know his name, that Pete Hegseth has both quoted, retweeted, and brought in to speak to the soldiers and shit like that, right? Right? The problem with that is that same preacher said that he is the preacher of pedophiles. Oh, y'all didn't think pedophilia wasn't going to come into this, did you? I know you've watched the show long enough to know that, oh, we're going to talk about the pedophilia, right? Y'all do understand we're going to talk about the pedophilia, right? Y'all didn't think I was going to leave that off the table, did you? Because we got to talk about it. We have got to talk about it. Some of the most manosphere, red pill bullshit comes from religion. Some of the stupidest, most ignorant takes you will ever hear, as long as you have ears, from the red pill manosphere podcast bro sphere, comes from religion. One of those things that you must be fruitful and multiply, but you cannot do it with a woman who already has kids. You need to do it with somebody who is a virgin or as close to a virgin as possible. Meaning children. Meaning children. It's right there. It's in your face. Some of the most manosphere, red pill shit. Gateway Church founder Robert Morris. That's his name. some of the most manosphere bullshit you've heard, when they start talking about dating younger and younger and younger and underage children, comes from that religious bullshit. Misinterpretations of the book. Misinterpretations of the book. Now, by law, a grown man with a young girl is wrong. I don't want to say young, I mean an underage girl is wrong. By law, it's wrong. But when they start pulling out that book, all bets are off. Because now it's religion. It's religion. And it's all three of them. I don't care. I don't care. I don't give a shit. It's all three of them. All three branches of the Abrahamic religion have a pedophile problem. Sorry, I said what I said. I ain't taking it back. Sorry. Send all of your hate mail to ghostclawprod@gcpr.live, and we'll answer it with the same question. I don't care. I don't care. All three branches of the Abrahamic religion have a pedophile problem. Pedophilia by law, by these governmental laws, is against the law. It's illegal. Who was it in the United States that fought the hardest against child marriage laws? They were the most vocal opponents of raising the child marriage laws. Religious men. Look it up. Look it up. Look it up. Look it up. It's right there. The biggest opponents throughout America, throughout all these states, against raising the child marriage law to 18. 18 were religious men. I want y'all to understand, if you see 16 in the child marriage laws, that's the compromise. That's the compromise. 16. These religious leaders wanted 12. The number after 11 and before 13, 12. That's what they wanted. That's what they wanted. Everybody else was like 18. These some bitches said 12. They compromised and got to 16. And when you hear these red pill, manosphere, podcast bro ass dudes talking about dating younger and younger women, the only way they would even get that power, the only way they would even attempt to open their mouth in front of cameras and microphones where people can see and hear them and say that goddamn illegal criminal shit is because of religion. Not faith, not spirituality, religion. Religion. The idea of having 2 and 3 of these underage girls as wives carrying your children came from religion. That shit did not come from any laws. It didn't come from faith, and it didn't come from spirituality. That's religion, kids. That's religion. Now imagine trying to make laws off of that. You starting off with the premise that here you are ready to negotiate to create a bill that will make a law that will protect a group of people. And this some bitch walks in and comes and says, hey, we should change the child marriage laws to 12. Excuse me, wait a minute. How many two 12-year-olds are trying to get married? And it ain't for them. It's not. It's for these grown-ass men. By taste, that's disgusting. By simple societal taste, that is trifling. I have a granddaughter that just turned 12. I wish somebody would. I would be in prison. Listen, look over it's in the chat. Opposition to closing child marriage loopholes or banning marriage under 18 in the U.S. is not formally codified or required by any major religion. However, political and cultural resistance that invokes religious or traditional justifications typically come from conservative Christian and traditionalist lawmakers and lobbying groups. You imagine having a lobbying group to keep the damn child marriage law at 12? There's money behind that. We need to know all of them. But that's religion. Religion has twisted us all up. Israel is not this country utopia where everybody wants to make it out to be. Israel is a watchdog. Let me get this out the way right now. The entire existence of the state of Israel is to be a watchdog in the Middle East. Why? Because there's oil there, and oil equals money. They do not give a shit about the Israelis. They do not give a shit about the Palestinians. They give a shit about the oil. Whatever keeps that oil flowing, these big countries will continue to prop up the state of Israel because Israel is there to enforce their laws. They are the hand of the king. Okay? That's what they are. But what we have seen over the past 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, is that Israel knows that they are the watchdog of the Middle East, and they demand more, so we give it to them. But then they cloaked all of that, cloaked that entire thing that I just told you under a Star of David and made it religious. Evangelical Christians, conservatives, do not tell Jewish people this shit, but I'm going to. These evangelicals are not your friends. You may hate the Palestinians, you may hate the Arab, you may hate the Muslim, but I'm going to tell you something. They don't have a prophecy for you to where you either going to convert or get your ass killed. There is no prophecy in Islam for that, but there is a prophecy in Christianity, now isn't it? It is a symbiotic, useful relationship. And every prime minister of Israel has used it. Everyone, Golda Meir, they all used it because they know that. The governments of Israel understand why they exist. Sure, they'll tell you it's because we had the land 50,000 years ago. No. It's because the United States, Great Britain, and France want that oil. They want that goddamn oil. And whatever it takes to keep that oil flowing, they will do. The problem is they will also turn a blind eye to atrocity. And then they will cloak all of it. They will put an entire big ass cloak over the entire thing and call it religion. That's the game, kids. That's the game. Spiritual Jews are not thought about. They're not. They don't give a shit about you. That right of return shit, that's part of the compromise. Oh, shit, let them all go back. I don't care. Is Egypt acting up? Hey, Israel, handle that. Oh, is Jordan over there tripping? Hey, Israel, handle that. So if Israel says, yo, we're going to take Lebanon, the colonial powers are like, do whatever you got to do, dog. Just go ahead and just make sure that money's coming. I'm telling you this. And they cloak the whole thing under religion. And it's not. It is a political ploy and an economic ploy. The Israelis know this. Why the hell do you think there is no far left Israeli political party or political movement? Because a far left Israeli political movement would be the first ones telling the goddamn government right now to stop blowing up Arabs. There isn't one. Israelis are taught to detest Palestinians, to detest Muslims, to detest Arabs. They're taught that in school. Have y'all ever heard Seth Rogen talk about Judaism? Have y'all ever heard Seth Rogen talk about Judaism? It's eye-opening. It's goddamn eye-opening. When I hear somebody like Deborah Messing talk about, I was so offended because I was getting bad comments in my social media. Bitch, little kids are getting sniper shot in the head. Bitch, what are you talking about? That's why Michael Rappaport can show his racism. That's why. Because he's supposedly defending the Jews. No, you're not. You're defending the compromise between the United States and Great Britain and Israel. Israel only exists to be the unchained pit bull of the Middle East. And evangelical Christian conservatives say, we must stand with Israel, must stand with Israel. They're not your friends. They're telling you they're going to stand with the Jews so that when Jesus comes through some gate in Jerusalem, you either believe he is Lord or you die. It's a symbiotic working relationship that involves religion, business, and politics. America perfected it. Britain perfected it. Israel learned from them too. And while they were over here with this cabal of bullshit, Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, Iran, Iraq, all these other places had the exact same shit going on, only Islam was the blanket. We know the Americans and the Brits want this oil. We're going to play them like a fiddle. Saudi Arabia has been blowing up Yemen for 20 years. The Yemeni are not safe around Saudi Arabia. So what does Saudi Arabia do? Gets more missiles and bombs and bullshit from Great Britain and the United States so they can keep that oil flowing. Great Britain and the United States are playing both sides. They're arming Saudi Arabia so that Saudi Arabia can continue to blow up the Yemeni. Saudi Arabia gives them oil, which makes them money. Israel is blowing up the Palestinians, the Lebanese, and shit like that. We give them money to continue it, and all they are the watchdogs. They are the hand of the king. And all of it, on both sides, is cloaked in religion. The spiritual health of any Jew is not recognized by the Jewish government. The spiritual and faith-based faith of Muslims are not they're not taken care of by Muslim governments. And here in the United States, everybody want to talk about being Christian. Everybody want to profess being Christian. Jesus is king and all that other shit. But you are not feeding the soul. You are not helping the faith-based walk. You are not helping the spiritual walk of any Christian by being the way you are. No government, the United States government doesn't give a shit about Christians, except for their vote and except for them sliding money as lobbyists. They don't care. They don't. They do not. What has always pissed me off about this special relationship involving all three of these Abrahamic religions is this. What about the people? Do the people count? Do the people count? Do the people count? In government, they don't. In faith, they don't. In spirit, they don't. They don't. When do the people get a chance to talk? How is it that regardless of what side of the political aisle the Israeli person for higher office sits on, it all hinges on hating Muslims? The people are not being served. Their faith walk in Judaism is not being served. Their spiritual walk in Judaism is not being served, but they can damn sure hate the goddamn Muslims now, can't they? Why are you not teaching that each man Each man and woman that walks the earth is your brother and your sister. God made all of us in his image, right? Right? Allah made all of us, right? Right? So how the hell are you going to teach against another human being? What part of the game is that? What part of the game is that? They use your religion to get you to think and act in different ways. Like, I still don't know why there's such a fixation with Adolf goddamn Hitler. I don't understand. Adolf thrived on that shit. You think Adolf was a Christian? Hell no. He just used it. He weaponized it against Jewish people. Adolf didn't believe that shit. Adolf was an angry ass man that Germany had to pay so much money after getting their entire ass whooped during World War I. And then he took that anger, wrapped some Christianity around it, and then fed it to the goddamn masses. Next thing you know, the Holocaust happens. This is why I despise the conversation that other people have when they try to compare the Holocaust to chattel slavery in the United States. It's disrespectful. They both had only one thing in common. They only had one thing in common. Using religion as a justification for barbarity. There it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. Boom. Right there. Weaponizing religion to justify hatred of human beings. Making laws. Making rulings. Making decisions. Using a warped way of looking at religion to justify the atrocities that you are about to do. There it is. Boom. There it is. Adolf Hitler did not believe any of that bullshit. He didn't. Oh, and Norse pagans, they're doing it to you right now. I don't know how many times I've seen these Aryan Brotherhood or AB or Hitler types or the Nazi types marching all over the United States with Thor's hammers around their goddamn neck. Norse paganism has a white supremacy problem. The faith in Norse paganism, fine. The spirituality in Norse paganism is fine. It is the religious aspect that breeds racism, breeds homophobia, breeds anti-Semitism, breeds xenophobia, breeds Islamophobia. They use that because it is easy for them to do. That's why all Norse pagans have to fight this shit. That's why. That's why. It's not because people are not becoming Norse pagans. It's the fact that they don't feel invited to take that spiritual walk as a Norse pagan because the avatar and the image out there is a bunch of racist ass, Nazi skinhead ass white dudes walking around with Thor hammers. It's all over. I'm telling y'all this right now. I make no secret of this. This is not a shocking thing. It really isn't. It's been going on for so long, some of y'all think it's part of the process, and it isn't. Our founding fathers were deists. Far-right extremists regularly use Norse concepts such as Valhalla or deities like Odin to justify violence, branding, and terror attack. By the definition of the United States, a terrorist is someone who spreads terror. Someone who uses terror as a device to gain and get their own views or whatever out there in the open. By definition, the Patriot Front are terrorists. By definition. Used to be a time if you wore a mask, it used to be a time if you wore a mask, you was trying to rob somebody and it was time for you to get your ass shot or go into arrest, right? Right? The majority of modern Norse pagans reject ethnic exclusivity, actively combating the far-right hijacking of their faith. Inclusive organizations emphasize community, folklore, and personal spiritually welcoming people of all backgrounds. Think about it. Think about that. By definition, the Patriot Front are terrorists. Hundreds of white men with masks on and hats and sunglasses marching down the street, scaring people in coffee houses, bothering people that are trying to come out of the bank, people getting ready to go to work. And here's these bastards walking around the damn street. Terror, terrorism, and terrorist. Stephen Miller, by definition, is a terrorist. He's the one that issued to a federal law enforcement organization to round up 3,000 people a day, disrupting people's lives. Every person that ISIS picked up is not a goddamn illegal person that's going to come in and Lincoln Riley your family. These people are American citizens trying to go to work, trying to go to school, trying to go to the bath, trying to go to the hospital, trying to fly out of the country. And masked men with guns are snatching them up in front of their families, in front of their friends. And they are killing people in the process, not just on the streets, but also in the goddamn detention facilities. Is that not terrorism? Is that not terrorism? So what does that make Stephen Miller? The count of people that died on 9/11 was almost 4,000 people. Almost 4,000 people lost their lives on 9/11. Stephen Miller is doing exactly that in 18 months. He's gotten twice that number. Because again, those almost 4,000 people that died on 9/11, those were the victims. Those were the ones that were actually victimized on that day. But the people around, the people that had to watch, the people that saw, it terrorized them. Stephen Miller is doing the exact same thing. So if Osama bin Laden is a terrorist because he killed a total of 2,977 victims, if Osama bin Laden is a terrorist because of that number, and Stephen Miller is doing that to communities all across America, what does that make him? A terrorist. By law and definition of the United States, Stephen Miller is a terrorist. But that's what happens when you can play the religious aspect. Religion will have you believing illegal people are just pouring across the whole goddamn border to come in and snatch jobs and shit like that. It isn't true. It's not true. It is not. By law and definition, the Heritage Foundation is a terrorist organization. Project 2025 is a manifesto, a terrorist manifesto. That's what it is. That's what it is. The mandate for leadership is a terrorist manifesto. It is the letter Osama bin Laden sent to the Saudi Arabian government declaring a fatwa on the United States. It's the same goddamn thing. The Heritage Foundation has gone to war with the American people. And one of the reasons they're so big and so powerful and able to do this is because of religion. Othering people is a religious thing. It's not a faith thing. It's not a spirituality thing. Othering people is a religion thing because religion feeds on the us versus them. Religion thrives on the us versus them. Religion grows and becomes more monstrous when there is a them to hate. There has to be a them in order for them to work. Because without a them, they don't work. If all you have is religion and you're just saving souls for Jesus or Allah, the shit don't work. You got to have an enemy. In religion, you have to have an enemy. You got to. It don't work any other way. And a lot of these preachers and pastors like Joe Webbin, and hey, be safe, Shab. Love you to death, brother. Like Stephen Miller, they need a them to go after. You got to have a them. Shit don't work if you don't. That is terroristic. Right now, as I sit here, I'm pretty sure the FBI knows exactly who I am. I'm not going to lie about it. I'm pretty sure they do. I am what the Trump administration would consider a left-wing terrorist, a left-wing activist, and therefore I'm a terrorist. Why? Because I go against what the current administration is doing. I go against the ideals that the current administration are touting. I go against them. And therefore I must be a terrorist. Here's the funny part about it. And I mean this in the most sincere way possible. I am more Christian than most Christians in the United States. Me, a militant atheist, on a day-to-day basis, try to practice more of what Jesus actually stood for than most Christians. I do not need the phone number of Samuel Alito to be able to say all people deserve dignity. I don't need that. I don't need the machinations of Joe Webbin to go out here and try to do the good works of Jesus. I don't. But I am the left-wing terrorist. I am. Because I'm speaking out against a government, which is covered in the First Amendment, which is my right to do so. And there's nothing my government should be able to do to me for doing it. But not in this time. Not in this day and time. In this day and time, oh no, you can't fly. Oh no, you can't leave the country. Oh no, we're going to arrest you. Oh no, we're going to prosecute you. Think about this. James Comey is on trial right now for putting NC shells 8647. The Justice Department viewed James Comey's social media footprint. He put 8647 in seashells. Seashells. And the Justice Department arrested him and are prosecuting him. That is against the law. That, ladies and gentlemen, is against this. It's against the Constitution. It is absolutely 100% against the Constitution. But when you are full of religious fervor and you believe Donald Trump to be the second coming of whatever, all bets are off. All bets are off. This is exactly why the founding fathers wanted a separation between church and state. Because the unholy alliance between church and state is why people act as though protesting is wrong. They act as though saying anything against the current administration is wrong. Because he was ordained by God. God put him there. God put him there. God put him there. God didn't put him there. We did. God ain't got shit to do with it. God ain't got shit to do with it. But they have wrapped themselves up in this religious ideal. Think about it. The Republican Party, as it sits right now, is an unholy alliance, an amalgamation, a goddamn stew of big business ideas, government overreach, and religion stepping out of its lane. In that realm, saying 8647 is like a threat to Jesus. So let's prosecute the former director of the FBI. When you have that religious tint on your glasses, killing Renee Nicole Good is good. Killing Alex Preddy is good. Because they were in the way of God's work, which is rounding up people that speak Spanish and kicking their ass out the country. Trying to have a white Christian ethno-state. That is not what the goddamn founding fathers wanted in the first place. That is not what the founding fathers put in place in the first place. If we want to defend this bitch, then we need to read this bitch. And at no goddamn point did the founding fathers even think about some shit like that. Injecting religion into our government is probably one of the biggest mistakes we've ever made. Because look at the fruit of that. Mixing religion into our government was a justification for murdering Native Americans and taking their land. God says they're savages. They don't deserve that land. Let's kill them all. The White Mountain, which is the skull of millions of buffalo, to starve out a native community because God said they don't deserve that land. That's religion mixing itself into our public discourse. That's what it is. They built a republic that legally enshrined white supremacy through institutions like chattel slavery and restricted citizenship. Exactly. That's what they did. They framed it. And I'm going to tell you, this is the biggest mistake that the founding fathers made. They did not directly address the fact that even in the time of the writing of the Constitution, diversity was all around them, and so was diversity of faith. They didn't see that shit happening. They thought about rich, white, landowning men, and that's it. That is it. The whole goddamn Constitution could basically be called, Dear White Men, we give you everything. But when you mix that Puritan spirit, when you mix that misinterpretation of Holy Scripture, it justifies your murder and enslavement of people. And the founding fathers wrote this shit down while owning slaves. You can't say that these people are endowed by their creator to certain inalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness while you own some goddamn body. You're talking about a creator giving people the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, but your ass got 5 slaves, 10 slaves, 100 slaves. It's a dichotomy they wrote into the goddamn thing. It's a dichotomy they wrote into the Constitution. It's a imbalanced balance into the Constitution. A poison pill, if you will. Because at the time you put those words on paper, you didn't mean any of it. You thought you were superior to black people. You thought you were superior to Native people. While you were writing this shit, you thought you were better than them. And who told you were better than them? Go ahead. You know. You already know. You already know. And now here in America, they want us to not talk about it. Huh? Now you don't want to talk about it. You want to talk about the greatness of the founding fathers and this incredible document that they wrote, but you don't want to talk about the fact that at the time they wrote it, the only people they were talking to were rich white landowning men, and that they used their rich white landowning Christian beliefs to own people and murder people. That's not the true history. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. You cannot have that dichotomy and tell the world how great we are. A more perfect union. A more perfect union. In America, Joe Webbin can say all that shit about black folks. But when Jeremiah Rice said, goddamn America, it was a problem. How dare a preacher say that? Why? If you can stand behind a pulpit and tell women that they need to dress modest and they need to be at home cooking and having babies because God told them to, why can't another preacher in another part of town tell you that's bullshit? Women are the partners, the helpmates of men. They have as much authority and dominion as a man does. Why is that a problem? Y'all both supposed to be reading from the same book, right? Right? But only one of you will call a congressman. Only one of you will call a senator. And you will try to turn what you just said in that pulpit into a law that everybody has to follow, including those who do not believe it. When I saw they had that Christian convention, and I saw a bunch of white women saying they would be willing to get rid of the 19th Amendment. Let me tell you what the 19th is. The 19th Amendment, the right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. When I saw a bunch of white women at a conference saying they would be willing to repeal the 19th Amendment, I knew we were in trouble. I knew we were in trouble. I knew it. A bunch of women betraying other women in the United States and their right to be heard by their elected officials by going into a booth and voting. And these were religious women. The 19th Amendment guarantees that the right to vote cannot be denied based on sex, effectively securing women's right to vote in the United States. It was passed by Congress on June 4th, 1919, and ratified on August 18th, 1920. Yet there are white women out there saying, hey, I'd be willing to give that shit away. So your bullshit religious interpretation means that every woman, black, white, or otherwise, can't vote. And these bitches can call a congressman, call a senator, and have them put that in a bill. The SAVE Act is religious. It ain't got shit to do with secure voting. It ain't got shit to do with making sure everybody who's legal in the United States can vote. It has a lot to do with women not being able to vote. And if you think I'm bullshit, look at the hurdles and hoops that are in the SAVE Act for any woman to vote. You gotta show your maiden name, your married name, your divorced name, your married name again. You got to show passports and bullshit like that. That is for women. And that is religious. We wouldn't even be having this goddamn conversation if it was any other way. If the SAVE Act was against rich white men, we wouldn't even be hearing it. That shit would have been dead. That shit would have been dead already. And to see religious women wanting to give the rights that every woman enjoys away. My husband, I married a man of faith, and I'm secure in what he will vote. Bitch, what's wrong with you? Are you high or something? The hell you mean give your vote away because you married a religious man? What the hell that got to do with the price of bologna in China? But again, religion. What is the pull point? What is the point that puts those two bullshit things together? Religion. Not faith, not spirituality. If you walk in faith, you will walk on the righteous path. One of the righteous paths in faith is believing that there is a brotherhood and a sisterhood amongst men, amongst women. You're not over here doing a dick check to see whether or not that person is trans. You're looking at their humanity. Part of the spiritual journey is understanding your place in this world and what your purpose is. Now, again, I'm a militant atheist, and I'm telling you this. I know some faithful men. I know some spiritual men. I know some faithful women. I know some spiritual women. But when I see a religious man or a religious woman, I instantly don't want to talk to them. I don't. Faith is everlasting. It is outgoing. It's everywhere. Spirituality is everywhere. It's the essence of what you breathe, the air you breathe, the water you drink. Spirituality is everywhere. Religion gives you guardrails. I take that back. It doesn't give you guardrails. It forces them on you. Religion forces guardrails on you. It does. It forces guardrails. You must walk in the religious path rather than the faith path. You must walk in the religious path rather than the spirituality path. You could read the Bible, but you need somebody to tell you about it. And that person can tell you whatever the hell they want. They got a book in their hand. You must listen. That is what religion does. But then when you take that exact same religious guardrail thought process and put it in politics, people suffer. Palestinians and Israelis suffer. Muslims suffer. Spiritual faith-based Christians suffer. Because now somebody's misinterpretation of Holy Scripture has now become a law that is misinterpreted by lawmakers. And somebody's rights get taken away. The thing, the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness part of the Constitution goes out the window. Life, as long as you're a Christian and you're white and you're a man and you don't do anything and you running away or whatever. Liberty, except if you're trans, trying to take a shit. Except if you're a two tax-paying gay men that want to get married. Except if your ass is a woman who thinks independently, makes her own money, does her own thing, is an equal in her partnership, or she is out here doing it on her own. Religiously, you're wrong. So you ain't got no liberty. The pursuit of happiness. Unless you're a black teen, in which case we won't call you nigger. We'll call you thug. You are a problem, so says Joe Webbin. Pursuit of happiness, unless you're a Spanish-speaking person in the United States who is proud of the heritage that they come from, but is now being hunted because a white man thinks you don't belong here. You make the country dirty. You're part of the great replacement theory. Pursuit of happiness, unless you are a trans man or trans woman who wants to pay their taxes, feed themselves, and live the life that best exemplifies what they want. The pursuit of happiness, unless you're one of these things, in which case we'll make a law that's against all of them. How dare you not want Christian religion everywhere. How dare you? It's against the First Amendment. It's completely 100% against the First Amendment of the United States, of the Constitution of the United States. But F all that. F all of that. We're going to do it anyway. And if you have a problem with it, you hate Christians. Christians are persecuted again. No, you overstepped your goddamn bounds. Nobody hates God, I made a video about this. Nobody is hating or wanting Christians or despising Christians for being Christians. We want you to act more like Jesus, not the fictional Jesus with the cape and the lightsaber, bitch. The brown man in the book. The brown man that gave all of us, the world, how to live a better life in tune with God. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall know peace. That part. But you want to forget that, prop up Kenny Loggins' swole meat Jesus with the lightsaber, and then get mad at somebody who doesn't believe that shit. Then you want laws put in place that affect the lives of other people. You are edging out spiritual people. You are edging out faith-based people, all to get some sort of political gain so that your dominionist ideas can now run the country that is not filled with dominionist Christians in the first goddamn place. You want to label anybody that is against that shit anti-American, anti-Israel, anti-Semitic bullshit. You don't get to mix religion and politics and then expect me or anybody else to follow it. Because again, I got one of these. I know what the founding fathers who wrote this dichotomy meant. They put the shit on paper. So I'm going to go by what they put on paper. If they put on paper that all men are created equal, then goddamn it, all men are created equal. And women and trans and gays and lesbians and Jews and Muslims and Hindus and Buddhists. All. They're endowed by their creator. Whether his name is Yahweh, Jesus, Muhammad, Allah, Buddha, Rao. Endowed by their creator to certain inalienable rights. That of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I have said this, all of this, on this show for this reason. Faith and spiritual people have got to now fight. You have to. I get so sick when I see a Christian will do something, and then you'll see other Christians talk about, that's not my Christian. No, bitch, it's yours. It's yours. It's under the same banner. It's under the same cloak. You're just not used to the violent part of it. Some of these people that are yelling out, not my Christian, would be saying the exact same thing during the enslavement of Africans. Some people who say shit like, that's not my Christian, would be the same people saying, not my Christian, when they try to wipe out the native and indigenous population. You in for a penny, in for a pound, partner. You hitched your wagon to that religious bullshit. You in for a penny, in for a pound. All of that belongs to you. All of it, every ounce of it belongs to you. Now, if you want to separate from that, you want to separate from it, then it is time for you to stand up and go against religion. The only way the Israeli people are truly going to have peace is to stop teaching every Israeli that Arabs are their enemy, according to the Torah or the Talmud. It's time for you to shut up about that. It is time for you to start teaching that those Arabs are human beings and they have the inalienable right to life. And it is long past time for you to stop bombing them. It is time for the colonial powers like Great Britain and the United States to tell Israel the truth. We don't give a shit about your religion. We just care that you're in the Middle East so we can keep getting that oil. Your religious dogmatic bullshit when it comes to Muslims is only a ploy that we would like to continue to have you use as long as you keep all the other Middle East countries with oil on the up and up. We will unleash you off the chain when we feel it is necessary. We do not give a shit about your religion. It is time for faith and spiritual people to pick up the fight. What's that usher line? How you gonna talk shit about the club on the outside? You can't get in? I'm an atheist. I ain't got a dog in any of these fights. I don't. And I have said on this show on numerous times, I am a humanist. I am a humanist. Human achievement, human safety, human love, human brotherhood. That's the only thing I give a goddamn about. I can criticize any religion I want, and I can criticize any government I want, regardless of whether or not that makes me a left-wing terrorist or not. You see, I'm going to take the words of the Constitution to mean exactly what they mean. I understand the dichotomy of the men who wrote this while owning other people. I understand it. I don't care. They're dead. I'm not. So as a humanist, I get a chance to look and see people as human. You're a good person until you do some effed up shit. And religion ain't got nothing to do with it. Just like being trans ain't got shit to do with it. Being white doesn't have shit to do with it. Being a man doesn't got shit to do with it. Being a black woman, it does not have anything to do with it. You are a good person as long as I know you're a good person. When you do some effed up shit, bitch, I'm calling you on it. All the way around. You see, I'm a humanist. And if something you're saying or something you're doing affects the lives of other human beings, then I am your goddamn enemy. The essence of villainism is that. To stand up for human rights regardless of religion, regardless of the power that religion has in any goddamn government, regardless of the government. There are no borders to humanity. There are no borders to humanism. None. Just like there's no borders to villainism. None. When I vote, I don't vote on religion. And I don't vote willy-nilly on other bullshit. I vote with a focus on humanity. I start with where I am. Georgia. No, I'm sorry, Dublin. Georgia. The South. The United States. The world. See how that works? I can have a singular focus. I don't need religious dogmatic bullshit to tell me any goddamn thing. A person, I judge you simply by your character. If you profess friendship, but will stab me in the back or turn your back on me, bitch, you have been judged on your human nature to say one thing, do another. I don't need no goddamn religion for that shit. I do not have to respect any ideals that go or do not coincide with my humanist nature. If you wrong, you wrong. I don't give a goddamn. I will call you on it. It is the clarity of atheism, the clarity of it, that I can hate the religious institutions and still see the human sitting inside of them. I can criticize any religious leader I want because I understand they are doing damage to the masses that they speak to, the human. When you create a law that I disagree with, I don't give a goddamn if you pull out a Bible. Does it affect a considerable amount of humans? Then F you in your eyebrows with a stiff jank covered in FU sauce. Because I start and I end with humanity. Which is why I can sit and look you in this camera for over 2 hours. And I can tell you, I want you to have the greatest spiritual walk you've ever had in your life. I want you to be in tune with your God. I want you to have a faith-based walk. I want faith to influence all of the decisions that you make. But I want you to get your ass away from religion. I want you to step away from religion. If the Beatitudes inspire you to be a good person, thank you. Those Beatitudes were supposed to. If reading surahs in the Quran makes you a better Muslim, adhering to the faith, the pillars of Islam, congratulations. That is what it's supposed to do. If your faith is rooted in the Talmud and the Torah, that's what you're supposed to. Your spiritual walk, your faith-based walk is based on what is in the Talmud and in the Torah. But if you are a religious institution and you decide that you're going to step your ass out on a public stage or wherever and advocate for laws or decisions that harm thousands or millions, hell, one person, based on what you did not read in that book you continue to hold on to, I am your enemy, period. I will always be your enemy. I will be your enemy until there is no such thing as enemies ever again. I will stand in opposition to you. You are trampling on the rights of humans to simply exist. And I'm not talking about gestation. I'm not talking about wombs. I'm not talking about conception or any of that other shit. I am talking about people that are already walking around on this earth. If your religious decisions make people die, make people sick, deny people health, deny people rights, every time you think that you're safe, I will be there. I will stand in opposition to your religious ideas. I will stand in opposition to your religion being in anywhere in any government goddamn ever. Using your religion in a way that crushes and hurts and destroys and kills people, bitch, I am in front of you. I am that enemy. I am that villain. Because as a humanist, I cannot abide by anything that ends human life based on your misinterpretations of a book. In a faithful person, the Bible becomes a guide. In a spiritual person, the Bible becomes a guide. In the hands of a religious person, it is a cudgel. And then it becomes simply a book. I've got hundreds of them. I will stand in opposition of you at every turn, because that is not the person that I am, and it is not the life I live, nor is it the values and things that I believe in. Before I leave, I want to play this. This shocked the ever-loving shit out of me. I'm actually going to play two things that shocked the ever-loving shit out of me. I was not prepared for this. There's two of them, two things. I was not prepared for. I don't even know if I have it. Do I have it? Oh, hold on. I think I might have it on TikTok. Hold on. Two things. Here is the first one.
You better shut your white mouth. I'm not kidding you. I know some of you was raised in the deep South and you was raised by prejudiced people and bigoted people. You better get that out of your system. You better get it out of your system. It'll cause you to suffer right along with those masters. It'll cause you to suffer right along with them. These are God's people. And I know that there's wicked in white races and wicked in black races and all that. I'm not justifying none of that stuff. I'm just saying God knows what happened to the black race. He knows how they wound up over here. And God is going to reimburse the black people for all their trouble and all their labor. You watch what I tell you. Watch what I tell you. You better shut
that. And I don't even know who the hell this pastor is. I don't. My jaw was on the floor. I was on the floor. But before that, there was this. Here it is. Nope, that ain't it. Hold on. I got it. Ooh, I got it, baby. I was not prepared for this. Damn it, where is it? I know I got it. I be keeping these things and TikTok be blacking them out so I can't find them. Damn it, man. See, I make content and then TikTok goes, oh, we don't need that. You can't put that out. And I'm going, wait a minute. TikTok, you let all other kinds of shit go out. The hell's wrong with you? Damn it, man. I know I got it somewhere. Can I save it? Let's see if I saved it. I apologize, y'all. Y'all know this show goes exactly where this show is supposed to go. And damn it, I don't regret it at all. I never have. I never will. Oh, and by the way, John Fetterman says he's a Democrat, but he believes that the Democrats have abandoned or are becoming anti-Israel. We're becoming anti-Israel's actions, buddy. Ain't nobody anti-Israel. And I'm sorry, that's not some shit you can get away with, especially not around my black ass. But anywho, I can't find it. Cannot find it. I know I have it. I just don't know where the hell I put it. But anywho, maybe I saved it. Did I save it? I don't think I saved it. I don't know if I saved it. It's funny that in this time and place, where people are not having their spiritual needs taken care of, there is always a constant battle for people to live the best life possible, to adhere to the words of the Constitution. We still can't get people to do it. And there's no push to let it happen because, in the grand scheme of things, we are spiritually and faith broken. We are. It's sad. It is truly one of the saddest things I have ever seen. Because you can't even think. Love you, Wrestle Chick. See you. You can't even think in terms of separation. It's going to take a lot for people to separate religion from their faith and spiritual walks. It is. And I'm sorry. I'm apologizing. Not for me, not for anything I did, but because that is a very hard step for you to take. I am anti-religious. I am not anti-faith, and I am not anti-spirituality. I am anti-religion. All day and twice on Sunday. I will be that way until I'm dead. You shouldn't have to choose. You should not have to choose. But since that choice is put in front of you, since now it is unavoidable that religion has destroyed government, it has destroyed governing, it is the home of disgusting people, racist attitudes, sexist beliefs, and it is something that is grinding your faith and your spirit into the dust. In order for you to make that separation, you need to tell yourself over and over and over again that I walk in spirit and in faith, not in religion. You have to say that to yourself every single day. I walk in faith, I walk in spirit, I do not walk in religion. You must deprogram your mind to stop looking at religion as something you have to adhere to. You don't. You ain't ever got to adhere to that shit. Not one time. Religion is a Ponzi scheme. It is designed to inflame you. It is designed to make you feel small. It is designed to inflame your worst aspects, and it is designed to grind you up, waiting for whatever comes out on the other side. I do not want religious people around me. I want spiritual people. I want faith people. I think I have collected a nice eclectic group of faithful spiritual people. I brag about chaos all the time. Chaos is, if you really want to be honest, you really truly want to be honest, Chaos Reloaded, Chaos King Reloaded is the impetus for this show today. Because that crispy bearded man, that brother is a faith man, a man of faith. He is a man of spirituality. But in no way, shape, form, or fashion, since I've known him, has he ever been a religious man. He's never been one. He even told me, hey, Thomas, you can't say that, man. Look at the church the same way you would look at a hospital. It's where you go get your spirit fed. It's where you go get your faith fed. Boom. Made perfect sense to me. Perfect sense. I understood it and went off from that. And have been that way ever since. Chaos is the impetus for this show. He is. Because it is men like Chaos and Taz who walk in faith, who walk in spirit, but they are being underserved by religion. Religion, in fact, I know you're not, Taz. It is men and women like Taz and Chaos. There, is that better? There you go. They are not being served by religious institutions. They are not being served by the machinations of religion in their body politic. They're not. That's why when you see them getting ready to go to church, they're not going to church for the preacher, the building, the songs, and none of that shit. They're going to get their faith and their spirit fed so they can walk their ass out and walk in faith and walk in spirit, but not in religion. I have the utmost respect for them, too. I have the utmost respect for anybody who walks in faith and spirit but rejects religion. You will always have an ally here. Always. But as long as my ass is black and points to the ground, as long as my militant atheist ass can get out in front of a camera, a microphone, or wherever, I'm going to continue to talk against religion until religion is no more. Until all people across the globe are walking in their spiritual path and not in the path some Ponzi scheme of a religion made them walk. That's the show, kids. Right-hand corner, you will see a QR code. It is a QR code that will lead you to a GoFundMe for little Joey. Joey turns 6 tomorrow. Joey turns 6 tomorrow. Joey is leaving the PICU after battling cancer, and this beautiful young lady has her 6th birthday tomorrow. The family is asking for different things. If you scan the QR code, you can go and see if you can help Joey have the very best birthday possible. If you choose to donate, if you choose to help out in this endeavor, please make sure your donation has hashtag Villains Guild for Joey or hashtag Outcast Nation for Joey, or both. Actually, we prefer both. We prefer both. I know we can do this. And I am so very proud of all of you who have donated using this QR code and using these hashtags. The Villains Guild and the Outcast Nation, thank you. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you for everything that you have done and everything that you will do. Remember, scan the QR code, follow the link to the GoFundMe page, and help out with the family. Make sure that when you give a donation, no matter how big or small, no matter what it is, that you put in hashtag Villains Guild for Joey and hashtag Outcast Nation for Joey. please make sure that you do so. And thank you all on behalf of Joey and her beautiful family. We are going to make sure Joey has the best sixth birthday a sixth birthday for the ages. I promise you that. Be limitless. I love who you are exactly as you are. I am so effing proud of you. Don't challenge their authority over you. Deny it completely. I am here no matter what, when, or why. The inspirational word from Miss Star O'Gwen. Remember, the Villains Guild and the Outcast Nation have partnered together as sister organizations to walk 6 million steps to to honor the 6th anniversary of the foundation of the Villains Guild. Myself, I will be walking my very last steps on November 4th, our actual anniversary date. My second, Professor Moriarty, the leader of the Outcast Nation, will be walking his final steps November 3rd across the pond. We will be doing this because the leaders are always the last ones out the door. Last ones. We watch as our men and women go and become safe. That is something I learned in the Army. The commander, a good commander, is always the first one on the ground and the last one out. That's how it is. If you would like to donate, please reach out to Taz at this. We have 400. How many steps we got? We have 464,958 steps reported to date. To date. Almost 500,000 steps. And we're just getting started. If you would like to donate, please reach out to Taz at the email address on your screen or reach out to Smoking Hot Mess Jess. If you would like to partner with the Villains Guild and the Outcast Nation on this endeavor, please reach out to Taz at the email address on the screen. Hydrate, elevate, self, love and self-care. Love you all. Have a beautiful day on purpose. The good word from Miss Tracina. I hope this show, hey, Bella, you got this. Bella's got interviews today. Bella, you got this. You're going to get yourself a job today, baby. STL Blue Girl, this is the STL Blue Dot. You are loved. You are valid. Your feelings matter. Don't forget, be kind and show as much love to others as possible because life is too short and you never know what someone else is going through. The STL Blue Dot. If you like what I'm doing here and want to support, think about becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/Thomas the Villain Bishop. $3 a month. We have a $3 tier. We got a $5 tier. We got a $10 tier. I am going to be working this weekend on putting on more and more content on the Patreon. I'm telling you right now, that shit's about to be popping. Heather, my manager, and I are going to get together. We're going to talk about some things. We're going to see whether or not we can get you guys some exclusives over there on the Patreon, patreon.com/Thomas the Villain Bishop. The Sound of Coffee Shop is open and running and it's piping hot. I'll be working on that today. I promise you. Remember, the Sound of Coffee, all one word, shop.fourthwall.com. Before we go, I leave you all with the universal greeting of the coffee beans, baby. Bow your heads.
How you doing? I woke up. Everybody else, because I woke up. That's how I look at it. You all had a chance until I woke up. Today's mine. That's just what it is.
I want y'all to understand the day belongs to you. The moment you put your feet on the ground, the day belongs to you. Seize it. Make something better out of it than you did the day before. That's the only challenger you have. You are not challenging men or women, money, status, none of that. Your challenge is to outdo the person you were yesterday. I want y'all to know that this particular show means a lot to me. It means a lot to me because for a lot of years, I felt as though I was wrong in my criticisms, but I could not stop those criticisms because of what I saw. I learned not to be an angry atheist. I learned how to be a smart one. That's why I get mad at people that claim atheism, but they're picking a side in a religion. I don't like that. I don't. What you've seen here today is a culmination of about 13 years of thoughts, of ideas about my own spiritual journey, which has led me to try to be the best atheist possible. I do not need to believe in a God to love you. I do not need to believe in a God to see your worth, to look you in your eyes, to hear your voice, and say that you are worthy of love. Yes, chaos did inspire this show, and I will be eternally grateful to that brother for that, to my brother for that. But this show, this one is special to me. It is. Because I hope it sparks something inside of you that allows you to let go of your religious ideas and embrace the idea of humanity in all its forms. Because as a faith-based person or a spiritual person will say, we are all made in God's image. I will say we are all made in the light of Ra. But we are supposedly all made in God's image. So why would you hate something that God made? And I hope this is your break from religion to a more fulfilling spiritual path. What is it that we say? Every single day, kids, may your day be as sweet as the coffee in your cup. Remember, submit your flag on the plays on the flag on the play tab on the Discord server. Y'all know what we got tomorrow. FOTP, baby. Don't play like that. My name is Thomas Bishop. I am known as the villain. Oh, I'm sorry. Good morning. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all the ships at sea. My name is Thomas Bishop. I am known as the villain. My title and designation is the Brutalist, the leader of the Villains Guild, a proud, upstanding member of the Outcast Nation. And this has been probably one of the best shows I've ever done. The Sound of Coffee on Ghost Claw Productions Radio, GCPR, where every voice matters. Tonight, it is Superplex Party at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with myself, the Angry IT Dirt, and who knows, maybe the General Gambit will grace us again. We have got to talk about that beautiful animation that was put out by the former Kofi Kingston and a former Xavier Woods. It was heartfelt. It brought tears to my eyes. The fact that they made sure to shout out Big E, to know that that's still their brother and he's still a part of them. But to see them running out, like seriously, I've watched that thing several times and I've almost cried every single time I watch it. But we got to talk about that. We got to talk about the atrocious Raw that was had on Monday and the fact that Raw, once again, is not reading the goddamn room, bringing in another sexual assaulting, racist piece of shit in Ryan Garcia and trying to set up a match between Logan Paul and Tom Brady. We will be talking about all of that tonight. Superplex Party, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on these GCPR airwaves. Ladies and gentlemen, I love you, and I am proud of you. I am a humanist, and I believe in you. Don't you ever think otherwise. You are worth it. You are worthy. Continue to be so. As always and forever, with love in my heart, I say this. With peace on my mind, I give this. Oh, Cinnamon, go over to Instagram. Listen, go to Instagram. Just go to Instagram. Or go to YouTube. I'm pretty sure it's over there too. And just a tad bit of hair grease. I will see you all tomorrow. Flag on the Play Friday. I love you. Be safe. Peace. Hey, walk in faith and spirit and not by religion and become a better person than you were yesterday. See you all in the morning. Love you guys. Peace.